Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today I'm going to be giving my match predictions for week 26 Premier League fixtures, man. And what a set of results we just had for week 25. We saw some amazing results. We saw Liverpool scrape a win at Turf Moor against Burnley when I thought they were going to win quite easily. We also saw Manchester City absolutely thrash and batter Norwich, who have plunged themselves in the relegation zone yet again. And I think for this weekend, we are in for a treat. We got Wolves versus Leicester at home, and Wolves are quietly just sneaking into the top four race, since we have teams like West Ham, Manchester United, Tottenham struggling to win games in continuous fashion. So let's see if Wolves can make their mark on this season to see if they can finish in the top four. We got other amazing games like Leeds versus Manchester United, and the last time these two sides, we've just seen goals for days. So let's hope for more goals, more thrills, like I always say. But before going to the video, you know I'm going to say, make sure you guys like, comment and hit that big subscribe button right there, because only 10% of you guys are actually subscribed to the channel, whereas 90% of you guys are continuously watching it. So please just hit the big subscribe button, it will help my channel grow. And make sure you guys give me your own predictions in the comment section. Who do you think is going to win in week 26 Premier League fixtures? So the first game I'm going to be predicting is Manchester City versus Spurs, and this is going to be an amazing, magnificent game. We got two of the top 6 sides in the country facing off for each other, and we know both sides have aspirations and dreams to achieve their objective this season. Manchester City in the title race, and obviously Spurs trying to finish in the top 4 this season. But I feel like there's no better place to start but Spurs. They have lost 3 games in a row, and the last time we saw Antonio Conte lose 3 games in a row as a manager, we have to go all the way back, not last decade, the decade before, in 2009. And this just shows how poor Tottenham have been in terms of the players, the quality of them on the pitch, the way they've been competing. It just hasn't been good enough all around. Tottenham have not been playing well, they've been showing no fight or spirit, and going against the English champions who have won like 13 out of the last 14 games, recently just thrashing Sporting by 5. How dare anyone predict that Spurs are actually going to win this game? So going in this game, Spurs don't really have that much hope. Tactically, I feel like it's a given. We know how Spurs are going to set up. We know how this game is going to play out. Manchester City are going to monopolise the ball. They're going to have 65-70% of the possession. And we know Conte favours a 3-4-3 formation, counter-attacking football. And his wing-backs are going to have so much work defending, especially since Cancelo is going to be bombing down that left-hand side, or even Kyle Walker on the other side if he plays. So honestly, going in this game, Tottenham are not going to have much of the ball, and they're going to be looking to defend as a unit to make sure they're compact, resilient, to ensure that potentially they can get a goal on the break with their 2 genuine world-class players of Son and Kane. However, on paper, that looks fancy. On paper, that looks amazing. On paper, that looks magnificent. But we know the game of football is not played on paper. It's played on the pitch. And honestly, I don't know how Spurs are going to be able to keep a clean sheet away from home when we know all season they've been struggling to do this. The last time they've kept a clean sheet was January 1st. And they've been playing FA Cup games. They've been playing Premier League games. So honestly, they've had so many opportunities to make sure that they're secure at the back, but they haven't. We know players like Tanganga is a calamity defensively, always giving mistakes like we saw against Chelsea. We saw Davis always getting spun, making mistakes as well. We saw against Wolves in the last game. These defenders aren't good enough. Yes, Son, yes, Kane on their day can be magnificent and can be match winners like we've seen them do against Manchester City in the Premier League in the last few years or so. But I feel like up this game, they're just not going to be up to the task. Yes, there's going to be so much space in behind for them to take advantage of when Kane drops in deep and provides those free balls for Son on the counter-attack, because Manchester City favour a high line. But I just feel like Manchester City are just going to have so much of the ballpark possession. They're just going to have so many opportunities, especially when you have great assisting players on the pitch, which are Spurs defenders, by making mistakes. So going into this game, Manchester City are hot in form, thrashing Sporting 5, winning 13 of the last 14 games. They've been on magnificent form. Doesn't matter if Morris, Foden, Grealish, Sterling, who has turned up the heat as well. Sterling scoring a hat-trick against Norwich, scoring a wonderful goal against Sporting as well. So it doesn't matter who really plays for Manchester City. I just think they're going to get the job done. And I know they can be complacent at times like we saw against Southampton, but I feel Pep Guardiola is going to drill it in the player's head like we just saw against Sporting, because Tottenham beat Man City in their last encounter at the beginning of the season. So the Manchester City players are going to have the mindset of having vengeance in this game. Manchester City are going to roll through Tottenham, and I'm going to be predicting luckily for Tottenham, potentially even getting a goal, a 3-1 victory for the home side. So the next game I'm going to be predicting is Liverpool versus Norwich City, and honestly, both teams need the 3 points because they have aspirations and dreams, just like the other 2 teams I said earlier in this video, to achieve their objectives this season. Liverpool playing catch up in terms of the title race compared to Manchester City, and Norwich also playing catch up in terms of trying to get themselves out of the relegation zone. So going in this game, draws won't do it for either team. They need to start winning games to achieve their objective. But before I talk about Norwich City, let me just start off with the home side at Anfield, Liverpool FC. And in the last game against Burnley, I did think we were going to win. And honestly, there's 2 tells of this story. You can either think of it as a hard, well thought out, grinding sort of result against Burnley in the wind, in the cold, where we know that teams have found it hard to win there in the past. Or you can either be a pessimist and like me, who probably thought that, wow, we got actually quite fortunate. If Burnley were actually more clinical, they could have probably won the game, because if you really think about it, they had the better chances and Alisson had to pull out some world-class saves to keep us in the game. So if Liverpool have this attitude of being complacent, thinking we're going to roll over teams in and around the relegation zone, we are going to be punished. And we are versus another team in the relegation zone, Norwich City, who are fighting for their Premier League lives. So honestly, do not underestimate a desperate team, because when a desperate team comes to play football, they'll leave it all out on the pitch because they have nothing else to fight for in terms of this season. Norwich just trying to stay in the Premier League this season. However, going in this game, it's not looking good for Norwich at all. The last time they were able to muster a victory against Liverpool was in 1994. We've had numerous encounters in the past where Liverpool have absolutely favoured the matchup against Norwich and have scored goals for days. You can talk about years ago with Suarez and Sturridge. Suarez always getting hat-trick every other game. You can talk about a few years ago with Salah and Mane getting goals against Norwich. It doesn't matter who's in the attack, they just love playing against Norwich, and I feel like the confidence in this Liverpool side, knowing that they just have this favouritism against Norwich, I just feel like it's going to do us a world of good, and we're just going to play with confidence and just belief that we're going to beat Norwich. Norwich City, like I said, they can't be looking to play defensive football for 90 minutes because they need the 3 points. I feel like Dean Smith's going to tell his men that this is a free hit, enjoy your football, just see what we can do in this game, and honestly, feel free to try create chances, and they're going to leave themselves open, exposed against the most deadly team in all of football in Europe when it comes to scoring goals. Salah's going to have another game under his belt, returning back from the African Cup of Nations. Hopefully Mane is off the hangover when it comes to the African Cup of Nations, winning for Senegal. Diaz, another game to get himself into the whole Liverpool system to try familiarise himself with this. And then Jota, who's just been in fine form. So going in this game, I feel like Liverpool couldn't have asked for a better matchup to gel, to make sure the players are back into form and shape when it comes to the rest of the season. And I'm going to go for a straightforward 3-0 victory for the home side Liverpool FC. So the next game I'm going to be predicting is Leeds versus Manchester United. And in my opinion, stylistically, this has the potential to be the best game all weekend. Not only just because of the rivalry, the intense rivalry between these two sides, we have seen in the last 3 or 4 fixtures, we've literally seen 14 goals combined between these two sides when they've played against each other. So going in this game, I'm expecting goals galore from either side. Manchester United usually picking up the 3 points in the end. But going in this game, Manchester United must feel relieved after repeating 3 of the same results, 1-1, 1-1, 1-1, then able to win against Brighton 2-0. They needed that. Players like Maguire is getting disrespected, rightfully so, by the fans for his inability to apparently play football these days. Ronaldo being on a crazy goal drought for the last 5 or 6 games. They needed performances like that. Maguire getting a clean sheet, although we're shaky at points, and then Ronaldo scoring his first goal in 5 or 6 games or so. They needed that, and I just feel like they're going to have the relief off their shoulders, the pressure from the fans, from the media, from the manager always calling them out. I'm thinking that they don't have to double think their passes or their touches, and they can play with a little bit more freedom going into this game. And Ranić in his press conferences has been talking about after his game against Brighton, Man United just need momentum. They need to string in a few wins results so they can put the pressure when it comes to the top 4 race this season. And obviously they need to get the 3 points against Leeds. I feel like Manchester United couldn't have picked a better opponent when it comes to building momentum, because we know in the last 3 fixtures or so, Manchester United have just just found their way against Leeds, not losing any of them and getting 2 wins, scoring like 11 goals in their last 3 fixtures against Leeds. I feel like Ralph Rangnick obviously plays different brand of football compared to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, wants to press more, wants to make sure that he has more control of the game. But against Leeds, I feel like he needs to be pragmatic. He needs to understand that Manchester United in the recent past have had great success against Leeds when it comes to playing counter-attacking football and letting Leeds come on to them. Manchester United in the past have found it so easy to play through that man-to-man press Leeds love to do. So why not revert to that sort of style when it comes to counter-attacking football, lure Leeds onto you when it comes to pressing football and try play through that. I feel like players like Fred and McTominay, although not favoured when it comes to Man United fans, are going to be tailor-made for this game because they have legs, they can run for days, and it's not going to be about the quality in terms of threading the ball through the eye of a needle, because there's just going to be so much space for players like McTominay and Fred to create through balls which any other decent competent midfielder would be able to do. I feel like players like Rashford, players like Elanga, players like Sancho are going to be pivotal to in this game, so they have real pace when it comes to outlet, because we know Rashford especially has so much joy playing against Leeds, so much space to run into. So let's see how Ralph Rangnick lines his side up to ensure that he's been able to take advantage of Bielsa when it comes to his pragmatic style of football, pressing all the time. But going this game, I feel like Ralph Rangnick will do that, and I feel like he'll understand that there's no need to change a winning formula against Leeds, especially since it's been working. So I feel like he's going to line up very strong, very resilient, and on the break, it's going to be goals galore. And I think Man United are going to be able to win, continue their confidence and their belief in this top 4 hunt. And I'm going to go for a 3-1 victory for the away side Manchester United. So the next game I'm going to be predicting is West Ham United versus Newcastle United. And honestly, I think this game has so much up for stakes. We got West Ham competing for the top 4 race, and then we got Newcastle obviously trying to escape the dip in terms of the relegation zone, currently 17th in the Premier League table as we speak. However, going this game, let me just have the wayside Newcastle United, and honestly, I thought Newcastle were going to be the favourites against Aston Villa, and I feel like they just had the belief, the spirit, the embodiment of what it feels like to be a Newcastle player, because they finally had their fans backing them throughout the whole of the 90 minutes, because they actually have a product they can actually support with these players playing for the badge. Players like Trippier has been an absolute revelation when it comes to his signing, scoring free kicks, assisting goals when it comes to corner set pieces, showing that he's a leader by performance and production. Although he may not be the captain, he might as well be the captain the way he's been playing, inspiring his other teammates to improve their level when it comes to productivity on the pitch and show real quality in the final third and defensively. Burn as well, a diehard Newcastle fan growing up, an absolutely amazing performance against Aston Villa, ensuring that they were able to keep a clean sheet to secure all 3 points. So going this game against West Ham away from home, Newcastle are on a roll. Undefeated in the last 5 games, winning 3 in a row. When was the last time we saw Newcastle do that in the Premier League? I don't even know. And the fans, the boo, the players are just enjoying life at the moment. So going this game, I feel like Newcastle have a great opportunity at actually beating West Ham. However, they are missing key players. Trippier, we just found out, was injured and is not going to be back for a few weeks or so. So let's see how Newcastle are going to be able to cope with this, because we know that he's been so pivotal. But going in this game, I feel like Newcastle still have a good opportunity winning, because West Ham always leaves the meat on the bone in the last few games or so, not bullying and clearing teams in terms of winning by 2 or 3 goals. They're always leaving teams in this game, whether that's beating teams at Watford 1-0, whether that's losing to teams at Southampton 3-2. Teams have always been in the game. Even Leicester City, when they went 1-0 up with Bowen scoring a great goal, Leicester were able to come back into this game and West Ham had to get a last minute winner. I don't feel like West Ham are consistent enough to blow teams away, and I feel like Newcastle fans will absolutely love this. They still have great players like St. Maximin, Joe Linton, inspired, playing in his new position in the midfield. Joe Willock showing signs that he can potentially go back to where he was in the latter half of last season. So in this game, I think it's going to end as a stalemate. And I feel like Newcastle fans will be pleased with a 1-1 draw. So the last game I'm going to be predicting is Wolves versus Leicester City. And we must give enormous, gigantic credit to the way Wolves have been playing all season, seeing how they're actually competing for a Europa League spot and potentially a Champions League spot this season. Working hard for their points, showing fight and resilience when it comes to the defensive nature, the way they still play football. And honestly, teams like Arsenal, Tottenham, Manchester United, West Ham been dropping points all over the place. Wolves can potentially sneak in through the back door and actually be playing Champions League football next season at Monoloo. Who would have thought this would happen? Obviously, Wolves didn't play well against Arsenal, losing 1-0, and I predicted them to win, but Arsenal were able to hang on with the 10 men. But I feel like the game against Spurs, they bounced right back. When people were thinking that Spurs with that game in hand were going to be able to put distance between themselves and the other competitors, Wolves were like, nope, that's not happening. We're going to come to your ground and dominate the game, and that's what they did, winning 2-0. Jimenez scoring an important goal. And if you watch the game and if you even watch the highlights, you would have known yourselves that Wolves should have won the game by 3 or 4 goals the way they were playing great football against Spurs. But going this game against Leicester City, I feel like Leicester City have just been too inconsistent, like I've been saying all season this year. Drawing against West Ham, yes, it's a good result, but the defence have just been absolutely shambolic. Obviously, last month, Ndidi has to play centre-back covering for the injured players like Fofana, and even Johnny Evans hasn't been in the game or so. Obviously, other defenders like Amarati and Soyuncu have been playing centre-back in their natural positions. But if you saw the defending against the Bowen goal, one ball over the top, you'd be thinking that was Sunday League defending. I don't feel like Leicester are good defensively. And although Wolves haven't been scoring goals like crazy this season, I feel like they just have enough goals in their arsenal to win this game. Their defence is absolutely solid, and I'm going to go for a 2-1 home victory for the Foxes.